Rob, you engage with a lot of people that most South Africans don't have access to. And I was watching in Davos this year the whole approach of the South African delegation, which was incredibly out of touch with what was going on in the plenary hall. And we can talk in a moment about Javier Milei, who has done miraculous things in Argentina in a year. And even that WEF, who didn't really like him last year, were gushing in bringing him through today. But how is it possible for a country to be so out of step? You know, we laugh and we joke often about South Africa. Well, you know, the world's going one way, we go a different way. Eventually, we do get to the end result. We just take a more winding road. At what cost we won't investigate. But how is that possible that you get people who are as well connected as one would assume that the South African government are, and yet they don't get it? They don't see, can't read the messages on the wind. They're still sticking with a story that might have gone down 2-3 years ago, but is so far out of touch today that it's embarrassing.
They're ideologues. These are people who were undereducated during apartheid because of the disastrous education system there, went and were propagandized by the Soviet Union. These are not very smart people, Cyril and his accolades. And if you look at who are the business people, the people that understand finance and business in the ANC cabinet, it's Enoch Godongwana, one. And I wouldn't even say Cyril is particularly business savvy. He's business aware at best. He sat in meetings where people talk about profitability, loss, investing, but he's not, I wouldn't say he's not a sophisticated. At best, he's a trade unionist. At best. He's not really a businessman. He's business aware. And that's the best there is in the cabinet other than Enoch. So these are people that are just pretty clueless. They're Madala for a start. I mean, the fact we have a Communist Party member in the cabinet, Gwede Mantashe, is beyond moronic. Have a look at Fikile Mbalula's WhatsApp picture. Mao Zedong, the killer of 50, 60 million people, is his WhatsApp picture. I mean, is he a teenager? I mean, it's incomprehensible that we have these stupid, undereducated, Soviet-trained, disconnected people in the cabinet from the ANC. I mean, how hard it must be for the other members of the GNU to be dealing with these people on a daily basis. They probably don't even do their homework. And here's the other sad thing about South Africa. We have a democracy. A minority of people vote. The vast majority of South Africans do not understand what democracy is or constitution is. And you know what they vote on? They vote on getting a T-shirt, wearing the T-shirt, being fed chicken on the day, and a poster of their hero that they follow. And come 2029, these are the posters that will be up there. Jacob Zuma, even if he is dead by then, he'll rule from the grave with MK. He'll be the spiritual leader. His poster will be there. Probably still Julius Malema, but he'll cease to be relevant. John Steenhuisen's successor, whoever that is, Jordan Hill-Lewis or whomever, and Gayton McKenzie. Those will be the people that people vote for. And on the day, it'll be back to 2024, which will be logistics win the day. Who has the buses to get people to the voting booth? Who can get people wearing their T-shirts? And who can get all the posters up and feed people chicken? I mean, the fact we're a democracy is almost inconceivable. We do, to fix this country, I'm going to say a benevolent dictator. We do need one. But we really need a decisive leader. Trump, democratically elected, but he is decisive. There's no messing around with him. Javier Milei, democratically elected, decisive as hell. I wish we could have someone at the top, decisive as hell, obviously in the direction we prefer. But maybe we do need a benevolent dictator to fix this country.
Let's talk about Cyril quickly. So Cyril's on his last legs because the poll also said that until recently, Cyril added percentage points to the ANC's position. So if the ANC was at 40, Cyril would bring another 5%. It's actually gone the other way. Cyril's now a detriment to the ANC numbers. So he's not long for this world. But be careful what you wish for. You know, in the wings is that corrupt, dangerous, EFF-loving Paul Mashatile. Dangerous as hell. He's playing the long game, and he's desperate for the job. And probably him versus Fikile and Balula, who's, as we know, not very smart. I mean, these are the options we have. So, in my view, no one in the GNU is talking about Cyril being booted out, a vote of no confidence yet. They're not. They're trying to make a go of the GNU. And let's wait till March the 12th, which is bang in the middle of the BizNews conference when we get the next budget, and let's see what that says. But I think the ANC is fragmenting. The ANC is shooting itself in the foot. It's scoring own goals. It's falling apart. It would be wonderful if the Communist Party and the COSATU pulled out and went their own way. And then the ANC is as good as done. It's not going to die. We still need to drive, the stake through the vampire's heart at some point. But I would not want a national election quite yet. I think we could still shred the ANC further, boost the DA, the Patriotic Alliance, and with Corné Mulder taking over FF+, what good news is that? I think you're going to see a real fire in their belly, and FFF coming good, FF+ coming good. And I think maybe later in the year, forcing a national election would be better because the ANC would be much weaker. The MK is a revolving door anyway. You've got one clown coming in and one clown leaving. It's better to be a little bit further down the line.
When we were in London and we got this exposure to the whole ARC conference, it confirmed a lot of what's happening internationally, where there's a definite move away from a really strange period that the world has gone through, where narrative was more important than fact, where microaggressions were suddenly very important relative to tanks rolling into your village, etc. But that wave surely is not going to escape South Africa. That people in this country must be aware that the world is changing, and perhaps that Chinese drip torture that we've had here for so long needs to be addressed in a bit of a dramatic way. I know what you say about be careful what you wish for, but do we just want to keep on going in the same direction? And that I'm talking to our politicians really in this way, because our politicians seem to be saying exactly what you're saying. Oh no, be careful of the MK, be careful of the alternative to the ANC. But my goodness, there has to be a better way than what's it now? Over a dozen years of GDP per capita going backwards. Unemployment queues growing every year. At some point in time, there has to be an uplift.
I don't see it. Worldwide, there's this wonderful swing against woke ideology, against moronic leftist cultural Marxism, madness of net zero, which is bankrupting Germany and other countries. That's happening worldwide, particularly driven by America. But look at the UK. The UK is still loony bin. Germany still didn't vote the AfD beyond 20-odd%. And they've still got the centrist parties refusing to team up with the AfD, which is moronic. Australia still has a crazy leftist. You still have, the juvenile narcissist Trudeau in Canada. And South Africa, Wilkinson is still fighting CRT in schools with no support. The IRR and Free Market Foundation are trying their best with Sakeliga Solidariteit AfriForum in fighting madness on the left. And there's no one in the ANC standing up and saying, the NDR and RET should be got rid of. They're still pushing this deranged, tsunami forward. And then, I still feel that BizNews, myself, R.W. Johnson are the too few voices calling out the evil woke mind virus. The broad population are not standing up and being counted. They're not speaking out. So I think this, madness of leftism that's being pushed by the likes of Daily Maverick, by the way, which is very anti-business, is still swinging in the wrong direction. I don't think the waves of common sense that the Trump Republicans and the ARC conference were talking about is coming yet to our shores of South Africa. We're still too few lone voices. And this morning I was chatting to my wife and she was going, this is ludicrous. I mean, it's absolutely ludicrous talking about wealth taxes and VAT hikes. They don't work. At this point, you're just going to have taxpayers further exiting the country. What does work? Well, if you understand business, which nobody in the government seems to do, they've never made money other than maybe Gate and McKenzie and one or two of the DA people. If you understand business and you have a company that is collapsing, a company that is actually about to fall apart with too much debt, way too much cost, and lack of profits, no growth, either the company goes bust and ceases to exist, or a turnaround specialist, and there are these people, come in, buy the company 10 cents on the dollar and turn it around in short order. And when I say in short order, they do things immediately. The minute they have bought the equity, they go to the debt holders and they say, your debt is worthless. I'm not paying you interest. I will pay your money back, maybe, if I can turn this company around. And you're going to forego interest for a period, 2, 3, 4 years, at which point you'll get your money back if I can get my work done. And he or she gets the deal signed with the debt holders. So debt ceases to be a problem for the time being. The turnaround person is given the time to fix the company. And that happens on day one. The equity holders basically got 10 cents on the dollar. They're gone. And this person owns the company. What's the first thing they do? First thing they do is fire most of the management. They just get rid of them. They fire the second level of management and they sell off or close down as quickly as possible the divisions of that company that either aren't making money or never will make money. And this happens in the first few days. It's like a knife, or as Javier Milei would have, a chainsaw. And that is what happens immediately. Cut costs to the bone. Get rid of debt for the time being. Say bye-bye to the equity holders. Fire management, sell divisions. And that is the only way you can catch this falling knife. Now, South Africa is in the same position. It's a failed state. It's a company that's about to go bankrupt, always bankrupt already. And you can't borrow money. They're not going to lend this country any more money. If they do, the IMF will come in, which actually be a good thing because the IMF will force upon South Africa these turnaround issues that I'm saying are essential. And the bloated bureaucracy in South Africa, these civil servants that are doing nothing and being paid a fortune, we need to fire them. 200,000, gone. We need to take our 32 ministries. And I keep saying, what a joke. This is how pathetic Cyril is. 32 ministries. Merge some, get rid of some, shrink it down to, let's be generous and say, 16 ministries, half the number of ministries. You get rid of a massive number of useless civil servants that are asking for the budget, spending money they don't need to spend, wasting taxpayer money. And you just got to fire people. We need to create economic growth. And what we desperately need at the government level is someone to say, this isn't working. This racist and anti-business socialist government is never, ever, ever going to fix the economy or the country. Ever. The ANC has failed. Failed. We need a complete change of direction. And instead of having more government, more socialism, and more race-based laws, we need to go the other direction and free the economy up. That's the only way we're going to save this. We need a turnaround specialist. And I don't see anyone's putting their hands up from the ANC side. Disastrous. Our country is stagnating economically. Stagnating. Do you remember the original budget? Enoch's disastrous failed budget 1.0. What did he have there as economic growth? 1.8%. And each time the budget came out, it was lowered. We're now at, 0.5. I think we're at zero. We're at 0% growth, complete stagnation. And the GNU says nothing about economic growth. They don't even know how to do it. Okay. So,
why we bother? I'm so negative on South Africa right now. We are going nowhere. Nowhere. The GNU is going sideways. The economy is falling apart. I mean, what is the point? And I'm tired of standing up and saying the same thing all over again. Funnily enough, I read a fantastic book, which Fed Uber gave to me. Can you read that? 1989, Don Caldwell, South Africa, The New Revolution. Just, guys, pick up this book and read the contents, okay? Pick chapter 10, little summary. The fruits of privatization. Keeping land, housing, education, and industry in the hands of the state is both bad economics and bad politics. Pretoria could win a lot of friends by boldly privatizing as part of a free market revolution. I mean, it's, this book, just read the contents. It's 1989. You could just reprint the book today and it's relevant. So I'm getting frustrated. I'm getting frustrated by where the economy is, where it's not going, by the GNU. Look at the national dialogue. It's a great example of where South Africa is. You've got 20, 30 nodding dogs who've accepted to be on the national dialogue, and nothing's going to come out of it. 700 million rand's going to be spent, and nothing's going to come out of it. I saw Sia Khaleesi the other day at rugby on Saturday, kids rugby. I walked up to him and said, Sia, on this national dialogue, just say 2 words and keep repeating them. Economic growth, economic growth. What are they going to tell us at the national dialogue that we don't know already? We know what the problems are. No growth, unemployment, crime, no service delivery, ANC corruption. We know it all. It's sitting over here. We know how to fix it. Privatize state-owned enterprises, deregulate, deracialize the economy, get rid of BE, get rid of EWC, encourage foreign direct investment. Problem, solution. But what does Cyril do? Pathetic, stupid, spineless Cyril. He forms another committee, another commission for 700 million rand. Robbie Brosen, he's a proper business guy. What's he doing on there? He should have just said, no, this is a waste of time. Bobby Godsall. Come on, Bobby. You're better than this. And then they got a whole bunch of lefties and other useless people. It's pathetic. I wouldn't go near a national dialogue or any of Cyril's commissions and committees. What the hell are they going to tell us? What are they going to tell us?
Interesting part about that, which has only recently surfaced, is that it's going to cost 700 million rand, and that's not an insignificant amount of money.
Alec,
I wonder if those who people like Bobby Godsell, who I admire greatly, and Robbie Brosen, who I've known forever, if they know that they're part of a 700 million rand talk shop project, if they would remain a part of it, or if they'd have the backbone to say, oh, no, didn't realize this. Sorry, I'm out.
I would walk off that thing if I was part of it immediately. Do you know, what is that other commission or committee that was founded 3-4 months ago by Cyril? Like 30 people, and had that nasty leftist woman on it. Eric, we spoke about it. What is that? Where are the results of that? And where are the results of the Zondo Commission? Okay, I wrote down some notes. Let's just remind ourselves the other Cyril Commission. Zondo Commission took 4 years, over 300 witnesses, 21 summonses, 8.6 million pages, 1 billion rand of taxpayer money, and 1,438 ANC cronies and cadres named and shamed, and zero accountability. Nothing happened. What is Cyril's solution to anything? Form a committee, form a commission, put in the names of the good and the great, all usually kind of pathetic lefties, and nothing happens. That's about as good as South Africa can get, where nothing happens. And I think this is a good thing for South Africa to have the spotlight shine on our country and what's going on. Because for 30 years, the ANC and all that, lapdog media like News 24 and other podcasters have been getting away with murder. Literally saying what they want at any time with no one pushing back. Well, they can't do it anymore because the spotlight's on South Africa, and it's pretty clear the destruction that the ANC has caused to this country. It's clear for the world to see.
Rob, it's great that you were featured in this way and profiled in this way because of all kinds of reasons. But 15 minutes of fame is so apparent in the media world. what is going to extend this beyond those 15 minutes? In other words, what is going to keep the Americans interested in South Africa, or have they already lost interest?
No, they haven't. The anger of what's going on in South Africa, the anger at the ANC, it's what it's done to our country. Racist laws, socialist laws, deindustrialization, complete economic mismanagement is a bipartisan issue in America. It's not just the Republicans, it's Democrats too. And Congressman Ronnie Jackson of Texas is putting a bill together, which I think goes to Congress in August, September, to sanction individuals in the government, in the ANC, and it's being extended to EFF, MK, and other anti-American hate speech gangsters. And I think that will create a huge amount of focus on South Africa. So we may have a quieter period over the next month or so, and then it's going to be reinvigorated by what's happening with Ronnie Jackson's bill. So it ain't going away. I'll tell you one more little thing on my podcast tour. Piers Morgan called me. I want you to be on my show. And I thought, okay, great. I want to do this. That's a great voice. And then my wife, wise as can be, said, Rob, I don't think you should be on that show because Piers Morgan has 4 people. There'll be you and someone else, similar views, which was Ernst Roots was the other one. And then he'll have 2 idiots from the left, which he did, some clown from the SABC, and that really stupid juvenile narcissist, Dan Corder, the 3 Beanie guy. And she said, it's just going to be clickbait for Piers' show. You're going to end up fighting with each other. You get basically a chance to say 2 things, and it's not the format you need to be on. So I sent Piers a message. I said, Piers, thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it. But if you want a sensible, mature discussion, one-on-one, I'm your man. But I'm not doing clickbait for Piers Morgan's show. And he didn't respond. But Gareth Cliff took up the flag, and he took that on. So Ronnie Jackson's bill, August, September, goes to Congress, goes to Senate, and gets implemented. Probably by Q1, if not by the end of the year. So South Africa's, there's a lot else going on in the world. Donald Trump and his team have their hands full with Iran, amongst other things. South Africa's off the radar for the time being, but has not gone away.